Hello and welcome to Bullets and Milk, our Westworld companion after show for the HBO hit Westworld. I'm Daniel. To my right is my fellow panelist, Jess. And to Jess's right is my fellow panelist, Joe, aka Man in Black. We're in black today. It counts. It counts.
The newsfeed team is on your...
Well, the newsfeed team is here with me. And you can subscribe to our channel right here on YouTube. Make sure to keep the conversation going by using the hashtag Bullets and Milk. You can do that on Twitter and on Instagram and even Facebook at that hashtag show. Just use Bullets and Milk. Guys, I think what we should do is roll the clip.
Let's do it.
Have you made a worthy adversary? Someone to stop me from finding the center of the maze.
Help me.
What is it you're hoping to find there?
Something true.
So before we even get into this week's episode, I've got to go over some things I noticed in my DVR roundup, I guess is what I call it, because I watched the show after, and I watch it a million times over, rewinding, fast forwarding.
How many times?
A lot.
More than three?
Probably more than three, man. I'm
really?
serious.
Well, you did get like 3 hours
once,
a day.
once I watch it with Reddit friends.
It's not a man cave anymore. It's a saloon.
It's a saloon. I watch it in. It's a sad, lonely show in my house. But so I watch it and I watch it with Reddit people. Then later I'll watch it with this Facebook group I have. And then I'll watch it again by myself after going through everyone else's theories and stuff like that. And
to really let it soak in.
Like it soak in and pick it apart. But anyway, enough about me and my loneliness. Did anyone notice? There was a moment where Dolores sits down. Not sits down, but she walks up on Lawrence's daughter. Mm-hmm. Who's sitting on the well, and tells her something to the extent of remember or whatever, or something like that, about pretty much invoking the flashback.
This is the last episode?
Yeah, last episode.
Yeah,
she tells her something like, you and I, we came from the same place. And then she had the flashback. In that flashback, there were two things I noticed. One was Ford's steeple, but it was a white church.
Right.
And then the second was Dolores kneeling over her own grave.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay, so something to keep in mind when we're discussing this episode.
Definitely.
But then you also saw something at the grave.
Well, while Dolores was there leaning at her grave, I did see, you could see the kind of, the picture will be down there, but you can see a little bit of looks like a man in cloth, a man of the cloth, a pastor, a preacher, father, whatever, standing there right next to her, comforting her as she falls to her feet to grieve. And I'm thinking that's possibly Peter Abernathy, the original person that played her father. Yeah. And him as the preacher, because we have that story that says...
In a different cycle.
Yeah, in a different load, he was, or in a different cycle, he was a preacher that heard the voice of God and went insane and became like a cannibal out in the wilderness or something. So I'm thinking maybe that's a clip or her remembering it before.
So you think that we could possibly see that backstory play out?
I think so. And in fact, as we go on this episode, I'll point something else out that makes me feel like, I think so. Also, one thing I've got to mention, the piano music from last week. If no one's told you guys yet, the piano music. So the song for it last week was The Cure, A Forest. And the lyrics go, come closer and see into the trees, find the girl if you can, come closer and see. That sounds kind of close to what happened last week as far as with Dolores and everything like that. Then it goes, see into the dark, just follow your eyes. Then it goes, suddenly I stop, but I know it's too late. I'm lost in the forest, all alone. The girl was never there. It's always the same. I'm running towards nothing, again and again and again and again. This speaks to the cognitive dissonance, I think, as far as the cognitive dissonance theory that they were saying, which is two beliefs that shouldn't be able to match up, but somehow you make an excuse to make them match up. That's the whole cognitive dissonance between those two. And it's like she's kind of like she's not believing don't believe what you see.
Right.
Essentially. And to me, it's kind of foreboding to William, especially for this episode. So it was kind of pointing towards what we're seeing as far as an evolution of Dolores, in my opinion.
I think that's a good. got a theory.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that the song was The Cure last week, so I didn't look up the lyrics.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like those little things that you look up, so that's
That speaks almost exactly to what Dolores was going through too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. And then this episode, I know the music already, so
Nice.
We'll let you guys know.
blow your minds. So, starting up with this episode, I mean, we open up with
Episode
Ford.
4.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. It was episode 5.
Episode 5.
Oh, episode 5 this week.
You forgot one, Jess.
Well, because she missed that episode. She wasn't here.
I
so
watched it though.
That's why.
I watched.
See, but it was episode 5. Contrapasso. Ooh, I like that. Right?
Do you know what that means?
No, and I should have looked up the translation. I feel so bad for doing that. So, as you tell everyone what you guys thought about Ford chatting with our favorite android, with his favorite android, which is kind of like his Mickey Mouse. What did you guys feel about that? What was happening and what was going on there while I searched for the
I think that's the time
Contrapasso?
where Ford felt vulnerable and he could share his thoughts with his first kind of creation. I don't think that it's like a safe zone. Either that, or if you really think about it, remember. Well, we're gonna get to this scene later where Dolores kind of says that it's when she's talking to Ford actually, and she says, "I didn't tell him anything." Mm-hmm. So, I don't know.
I think.
What caught your eye there, Daniel?
Well, I'll tell you what Contrapasso means.
Oh, nice.
But go ahead if you guys want to finish first.
I'm good.
I think Ford uses that android as like almost his form of therapy.
Yep.
So he has in my theory, he uses this guy as somebody he could talk to and confide in, who knows he's not going to repeat any of this information. Mm-hmm. But I think he also kind of gives clues too, because when he's talking to that android and he's telling the story, what was the story he was telling?
Was it a bloodhound or a greyhound?
The greyhound,
Yeah.
and how he
And
finally
what they
got
actually do.
he finally got what he was chasing after, and it wasn't, he didn't know what to do with it, so he killed the cat. And he's a greyhound. So I feel like that was a direct reflection of him. He finally got to this point where he created life. He basically created, AI.
Yeah.
And he created this world, and now he's reached the peak and he doesn't know what to do with it, or he's conflicted in what to do. Maybe there's some type of moral thing we don't know that's going on. But I thought that story was really interesting because it's a direct reflection, I thought, of how Ford was feeling.
In that direct reflection, the question is, well, who's the greyhound and who's the cat?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the one question. You're kind of wondering, well, are the hosts the greyhound and is the world the cat, or is it the other way around?
Or is Ford the greyhound and the cat is
His partner.
His partner, or this thing that he created, this Westworld, this thing that he's been working on for so long, or this maybe level or something. I don't know. I mean, I know we're going to find out, but it's just...
I love the symbolism. I mean, it's kind of hard to figure out.
You never know.
You don't. And
That's what
with
the
it being
show
the
is like,
case-
so many layers. Like, there's so many side stories where, like, you have to kind of think throughout the whole episode, which is a good thing. It makes the whole... Everything about, I feel like this episode made me think a lot.
Oh, definitely.
Like, try to
And-
make the connections and put 2 and 2 together.
Well, that's the thing that's really interesting. I mean, we did notice that it didn't start with the conversation that we expected.
Mm-hmm.
Which
Yeah,
is usually
that's every episode, yep.
is Dolores and Bernard. This one didn't. Things are changing.
But it did.
Yeah.
It did start off with a human talking to an AI.
Correct.
But it may not have been Dolores, which we're used to, but it was a human talking to an AI.
That's true. That's
That was
true.
the opening.
And something I don't know, I just kind of thought about Dolores and Delios. If you kind of shift them around, it can be anagram, but you have to drop a letter. But it can be an anagram.
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting, especially now with this episode. Like, ooh.
True.
But okay, so
Yeah, so the title of the episode,
Contrapasso.
or as I would say, Contrapasso.
Contrapasso.
It's actually pulled from Latin, and it means suffer the opposite. It refers to the punishment of souls in Dante's Inferno by a process either resembling or contrasting with the sin itself. A similar process through
Well, that would make
Yeah,
sense
well, yeah, that
because
actually
in
makes sense.
Contrapasso it was like the brothels and you were being rewarded, and it was like the orgy.
I was just gonna say, oh my God, that's
it was
it.
the opposite of suffering because they were rewarded in that
Which is
world.
exactly
well, the
where
thing
we
is, but
ended up.
William was still suffering during that time. During the whole time, he's being like torn apart essentially by his own morals, his own thoughts about what he thinks should happen, what shouldn't happen. He's falling in love with a robot, which he said he wouldn't do because he has someone at home. He's having a cognitive dissonance on his own, and it is the contrapasso. It's the pulling of himself for the sins. He's paying for his own sins. That's pretty dope and really deep. I didn't even think that far until right now.
That was a fresh thought.
Dear God.
Threw that.
Well, we do have another fresh thought, which was Dolores and how she was sitting there and Arnold pretty much tells her, "Find me." And right there when he says that, there were some flashes. Anybody see any flash that was important to them?
There was a bunch.
There were a bunch. I'm trying to remember what they are. I don't, guys. You have to remember, we only get one shot at watching the episode, and then we have to start writing notes and go right into this. So please forgive us. Some things will be missed. Like the Flash is one thing that we all missed.
It's been a long day.
I was gonna say we were at LA Comic Con or Kamikaze all day.
We were at
Not
LA
making
Comic Con.
excuses. Just know we're very
just
fried.
know that we all worked very hard at LA Comic Con, and after that we drove all the way out here. Well, we're gonna pull the curtain back. We went from downtown to Manhattan Beach, that's where our studio is.
And then you're going back up to North Hollywood.
Exactly. Well, don't tell people, because now they're going to find her.
Well, they're not going to find her.
Oh, no, it's fine. But it's not a poor me story. It's just let us, just bear with us because our memory's a little.
So if you guys have to remember what you guys saw in The Flash and may be important to you, please comment below. Trust me, we will talk about it next week and throughout the week. So do that. Help us out. If not, you can still use the hashtag Bullets and Milk and hit us on Twitter. We'll find it. So from there, we do see Velasco, that's the town, and we hear Logan's reason for passing through that town. The whole time was just to do this side quest and
that's really interesting.
Break into all this
in terms of your original theory about the timelines.
Yes,
because I don't know. It seems like if this is, let's say, either Logan or William is the Man in Black, then he's been looking for this forever. It seems like.
Yeah.
But who knows if that's even still a thing?
See, I don't think the Man in Black is Logan. Is that?
No, I think he's William.
Oh, you think he's? But to me, it's like William's so sweet and morally.
But we're seeing
we're starting to see the corruption of that.
I see.
Also, what we are seeing, we're seeing that corruption spreads, and it spreads quickly because it's getting into Dolores as well. A woman that wouldn't hurt a fly, couldn't shoot a gun because she couldn't somehow pull the trigger, is now popping people off like there's no problem.
That's true.
And
that's true.
It's just getting farther and farther now. And I'm seeing his corruption in him and the corruption in her. My opinion doesn't mean it's actually right.
Maybe that's the twist. That makes sense.
Boom!
All right.
See, so then after that, Logan also mentions that the family wants to buy out the park. My question when that happens is, well, are they Delios or a competing company?
I don't know.
So Logan also mentions that his family wants to buy out the park. And with that came the first question to me. Well, so now are they, as far as Logan and his family, are they Delios or are they a competing company? Like,
they're probably a competing company, and that goes back to what the first episode when we got a hint that there's something more that administration or management, like their intentions are different than like the designers or in the coders. You know what I mean? Like than Bernard's intentions, which was to create a good experience with AI. Or at least that's what you think his intentions are. So it could be something like, again, just corporate America. Like it could be like some money.
Oh shoot!
Because after all, it's a business. Westworld's a business.
It is. That's true.
So.
Well, from there, of course, we have the moment that I've got to point out, which is the MIB, and there's a path for everyone. It's what he says. What he says to Lawrence, and with that,
this is where we're with Teddy also, right?
Yeah.
Teddy was on the horse.
Oh yeah, Teddy was on the back of that horse, and once he does, he mentions about no one speaking to him the way Lawrence does, and it's different in another life. Like what's happening there? What is he saying to Teddy when he says like the whole mention of in another life? Does he mean figuratively, or is there a whole lot more to that might be than we need to know? Or because I know he does. He likes to speak figuratively when he says, "Oh, I was essentially born in this park." So
I assumed he meant another life, another cycle. Because to Teddy, it does feel like a different life, right?
Well, I would think so. I think to Teddy it would seem like a different life altogether.
Because Teddy still doesn't know what's going on because he's not. Because he's still programmed at this point, still programmed to not acknowledge things like that.
That's true, actually.
Oh, true.
Well. Looking at it from another standpoint, I'm just being honest. Looking at it from another standpoint, when it comes to like no one speaking to him that way, being another life, I feel like it could be like on the outside world, he's he's hot shit.
Teddy?
In the hot world. No, not Teddy. I'm talking about Man in Black.
Gotcha.
Like, because remember, somebody in the last episode mentioned, what your foundation really did a lot for
and he's like,
somebody. He's like, you say another word, I'll fucking slit your throat.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, okay.
And he said, I pay. And he also referenced the Man in Black reference in another episode. He's like, I pay big money to come here. You're not going to ruin.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he said
right.
like I get one vacation a year.
Yeah, I get one vacation a year. And then this episode when we saw Man in Black with Ford talking, that seemed like some type of intimidation tactic.
Maybe the Man in Black has been coming there for his vacation to find this maze for X amount of years now.
But there's some weird conflict between them.
Well, there's definitely a huge conflict. You mean between?
Well, yeah, I'm saying
if William is the Man in Black, then maybe I don't know, man. It gets so weird.
Well, no. What are you saying? What do you think? Because I want to see if I can defend my theory.
No, I'm not poking holes in yours. I'm just saying that this whole thing is just it's paralleling another story. When I feel like we're seeing different stories play out on different timelines, I'd like to see if somebody can piece all the William story together and then all the Men in Black story together.
That's what I would love to do if I can edit
see
it all
if
together.
it works chronologically,
right?
And edit out the command center stuff.
Okay. I mean, I would love to see it because I think if we did, we'd have the answer to the theory, which is pretty much.
Well, I don't know if we'd have the answer because it feels like it's a puzzle piece we're putting together, and like we don't have all the pieces yet, but we can kind of see where they go.
Yeah.
Or at least to see if it's even in the same puzzle.
Well, here's
That's the point. That's true.
Here's my confusion, and maybe you can help me out with that. So back to when Ford is sitting with the Man in Black. Is Ford upset that the Man in Black is kind of close, not close to finding the center or the whole thing that he's looking for, or the end of the maze,
or that he even knows the fact?
I think that Ford's character is just too cocky at this point, regardless how close or how far he is.
That's what I mean.
He just
but
thinks
I'm like,
he'll never get there.
But also, if that's the point of the park, if Ford's the one who created the maze, how can he have a tiff with the Man in Black for trying to complete it?
Did Ford make the maze, or was it Arnold?
Yeah, one is Arnold that made the
maze. Ford upset at the fact, and I think that's what's upsetting him.
I
the
keep
fact
forgetting
that,
about
they
Arnold.
kind of do even allude to the
up.
fact that the Man in Black isn't Arnold, and they did.
They gave us that answer. Congratulations. We're sorry, guys. That answer has been debunked. If we had a little thing, we'd stamp it, but it's been debunked. So MIB is not Arnold. My theory has been resurrected. So congratulations to me. But also we run into
you must be so happy now.
Right?
His theory rose from the grave.
No idea. It was all Jesus.
He was so disappointed. Episode 3. Episode 3, he was so disappointed.
I cried before we went on camera. It hurt.
He did.
But so Minnie Ford shows up, and MIB sends him to fetch water. Then he kills Lawrence. But before he does, when he sends when MIB sends Minnie Ford, because that's exactly who it is. It's a small version of Ford.
Yeah.
And he sends Minnie Ford off. He sends Minnie Ford off, and once he does, he says, "Too small." And you were like, what was he talking about? Like, he just sees a kid and he says, "Too small." And then we find out exactly what he meant once he tells Lawrence, you've worn out your welcome, and slits Lawrence's throat. Pretty much telling him exactly, drains the blood. And that was the question right off the bat. Why is it draining the blood? But then we found out.
You mean from one of those past episodes?
No,
this episode. He
I know what happens,
Lawrence's
but doesn't he do that?
He did in the past episode.
Like in a past episode also?
And that one was a form of torture. That's why he did for that guy.
But was it? Well, maybe he was trying to resurrect another...
who did he do it to?
Maybe we don't know yet.
He mastered this game in order to give a blood transfusion that worked on an
Oh my God,
Or you know
I was
what?
impressed.
Honestly, it could have been Dolores, and that's why Ford. Nobody ever knew that she was getting out of the park with, like, maybe that guy's working with Bernard, and they resurrected her without anyone else really knowing that Dolores was resurrected, and then put her back in the game when Bernard would have her talks with her.
Oh, interesting.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, because I feel like Bernard's having secret talks.
No, I don't.
I mean, because maybe they're trying to do this behind Ford's back.
Okay.
And Bernard and the Man in Black are working together to give them their consciousness. And what he's doing is that he was draining that blood to resurrect her at some point, so that Bernard can just take her out of the game, like already alive, without having to be in the process of being worked on.
I like that.
It's a
That
crackpot theory.
It's a crackpot theory. We don't know.
All
but
right.
So he sends him off, tells him, blah, blah, and he tells him his path was essentially leading him to Minnie Ford. So he cuts cuts the throat, drains him, and then we go to the tech guy and the bird in the locker.
Yeah.
And a little bit of his story. But the thing that was trippy to me, it was like a Cinderella moment. Where the guy was like, "You'll never be nothing. You'll only be this tech guy. You're not going to be that thing that works on the animals and blah blah." Like, and he was like, "Oh,
yeah, it was such a bully
right.
situation with
You're
the two tech
right.
guys.
I'm so stupid." And it was like, "Yeah, I'll wear the glass
I'll show
slipper."
you.
Yeah, it was like one of those, and he was getting bullied, and I felt so sorry for him at that moment. And then we see him have a happy moment right after, but we'll talk about that. So. The MIB gives Teddy a blood transfusion.
Here's another thing too. How much blood did he know exactly how to give Teddy?
I don't know how much blood did he know.
Well, because they're the same size man. You're not gonna drain MIB's blood for a grown man. You wouldn't give a 12-year-old.
Yeah, you're not gonna take Minnie Ford.
He's a grown man. He's a grown man, same size.
That's right. Yeah, you wouldn't take Minnie Ford and then do it for that one. That makes sense. Minnie Ford is Britain.
Yeah.
Dude's massive. Well, Teddy's not massive, but Teddy's much bigger than.
You're definitely closer to the same size.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
They would need the same blood.
Yeah,
so that makes sense.
So then,
we agree. Moving on.
Yeah, could that be? I don't know, but we go from there and we move on to. Dolores has another flashback. That night of a massacre at the church.
Yeah.
And people are all sprawled out and dead, and that was something that I mentioned at the top, which was going to it now. Could that be the past load or the past cycle where her father Peter Abernathy went insane as a preacher, gunslinging preacher, shoots everybody in town,
and then eats them?
Charlie takes one body or something, goes into the wilderness, and kind of gnaws on something. Like, it could happen. I'm thinking, could that be what we're seeing? I mean,
that could be I mean, then if that's your theory, then that would be the second flashback that would lead to that.
Mm-hmm.
So the one would be everybody sprawled out. The second would be Dolores over her grave with maybe her crazy preacher father to the right of her.
See?
It could work.
See, it could work.
Maybe puzzle piece, maybe not.
Who knows?
I'm grabbing at straws. I'm snowballing. You guys are welcome to,
Well, it's as common as much as possible. Right now, there are nothing but theories for this whole episode.
I know, I'm curious.
So,
well, this episode gave away a lot, too.
It gave away a lot. Lots of reveal.
And one thing we got into it, bro, it just kind of gave a lot. William gives her the speech about the real world, and she notices. And essentially, she turns back and gives him a speech about what she understands to be the world as it is, and how she's acknowledging the fact that I'm not supposed to notice that you said this, but things are changing. Things are changing so much that, blah, blah, and I can't be this anymore.
Is that your Dolores?
That's my Dolores.
When she gets a southern accent, when William then starts to freak out because he could feel her understanding everything.
Yeah, and that was amazing to see him as a person really understanding it, and then, how you can take me away and all that. It was... Oh my gosh, the acting is so good on this.
Yeah,
the acting is
really
so good.
She's good at being still. That's what I've noticed. Like, she's good at
so
being
eerie.
Just completely still. Like, I have a hard time with that.
Oh, yeah.
I have, I just like move fidgeting. Like, even as an actor, I would just, I don't know. I would be it's very vulnerable just to be still like that. Like,
Or even to switch your, like, facial emotion, because she does that in that scene with Ford. Like later on, where he's like talking to her, and
she has like dead eyes when she's in analytic mode.
Yeah, and then you see her like brighten up and
analyze
actually
mode, and then she'll
Actually, moving on to it, that's what we should talk about. Ford puts Dolores to sleep to pull her out of her loop, but he does it in a very dramatic way. But was it him doing it, or was it Arnold, where she sees herself running through?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Because later we have a scene where she sees herself again. Trying not to jump too fast and go everywhere, but she has that scene later where she sees herself again, and it's clearly Arnold. But at this moment, where she sees herself running through the parade, and she starts to chase herself, and then
it's the White Rabbit moment.
It is, because she's still wearing the blue dress, and she's Alice at this point.
Alice in Wonderland.
Exactly. So she's chasing down the rabbit hole, and then faints. And that was, her fainting was a part of Ford putting her to sleep.
This is even more so Alice in Wonderland than I really thought. Like, chasing it down the rabbit hole, and it's like a maze, and you got to go through all this stuff. And even the symbolism that she's wearing the blue dress.
The blonde woman wearing a blue dress.
Blonde woman wearing a blue dress, trying to find it, and it is a lot of symbolism from Alice in Wonderland.
Well, also the other thing about it, where on that episode,
that's really good insight.
No, there was. You said Alice. I thought you said ass. I like asshole.
Well, Alice in Wonderland, but then Elsie would be the Red Queen because they needed the chip or whatever mainframe inside of that robot's head. First thing they had to do when they finally found the stray was off with his head.
Off with his head. There's another.
So I'm just saying there are a lot of references. There are a lot. That means that what's his name? Stubbs would be the knave.
Is this something that's kind of something that's already been compared to?
Yeah, is this a theory?
Probably most likely a lot of people have. We had a comment actually from Justin Dolge like two episodes ago where he said, "Is anyone noticing the Alice in Wonderland references?"
Interesting.
So,
wait, who said that?
Justin Dolge.
Nice.
Great name. I see what you did there.
I like that, Justin Dolge. I like that. Interesting.
But, so Ford asked her, "Well, have you been dreaming again? Again? I'm just saying. Anyone notice that he says again? Ford knows everything.
Ford knows everything.
Everything, and it's just, have you been dreaming again? Then,
I forgot to tell you. Sorry to interrupt. I just thought of this. Did you notice that when Ford's talking to Dolores, he kind of has this tone where like you can tell there's something about like he doesn't like her.
It's something where it's like I really think he hates her.
Well, then obviously at the end of their conversation he says I would hardly call us friends. I wouldn't call us friends at all. And then
he said Arnold. He said Arnold is what he's talking about when he says I wouldn't say we're friends.
No,
because
it was Dolores.
She says something like I feel like we were friends a very long time ago.
That's right. You're right. Oh my God.
Are we old friends?
Yeah,
that's right.
And he's like, we aren't friends. I wouldn't call us friends. I wouldn't call us friends at all. And then he storms out. So first I'm like, oh, he doesn't like her because Arnold's using her as a tool. Then I had my crackpot theory was as he was leaving and storming out, he almost had this look on his face of like being devastated. So I wonder if Ford, because Dolores is the oldest and the original AI in the park, or android in the park, I'm wondering, and this is obviously Ford's creation, so there has to be some type of psychological thing that goes into creating artificial intelligence.
Of course.
I wonder if he fell in love with Dolores at some point, or if they had some type of love affair. Maybe Arnold and things between him got sour.
I don't think he knows that the programming of Dolores has really been hacked because she's hiding it. And I think she's hiding it because she's been programmed by maybe the man in black. So Dolores found that thing in her arm in that vision, but the dude that crushed his head open.
Oh, no. See, the dude that crushed his head open, he had the blinking light in his arm. So I don't know.
The satellite tracer.
Yeah. So I don't know when that whole thing about you're becoming undone and she starts to pull.
And then she discovers.
Discover and it's in her arm, but also inside of that guy. It's like there has to be some level of symbolism there, where it's like
it's in Maeve's
or
arm,
maybe it's a glitch. Maybe that's the glitch that happens when something.
So?
I don't know.
Well, I mean,
it wasn't a Maeve. Sorry, Dolores' arm and the guy who smashes heads arm.
Those two. And I'm thinking if that's something because Arnold's trying to warn her about someone who is putting something inside
like
of
a
their
defense
arm.
mechanism.
Like I wonder if that's it, or like Arnold could be trying to tell her like something's happening outside the park. I need you to somehow know about this. So some level of symbolism was you're becoming undone, and then pulling her arm and finding something inside of it. When Elsie finds something inside of the stray's arm, trying to let her know that's where you'll find it. Follow the money or something like that.
Right.
Kind of like giving her that hint. I wonder if that was the case. But my thing was, we did notice that when Ford was talking to her, like you said, that change in his tone and everything. He even goes to a point where he's like, are you dreaming again to get out of your modest little role? Like, why are you getting so catty and petty with a robot, bro?
I know.
I understand your creation, but he's getting really petty. Like,
that's what I mean. I feel he has this love-hate thing with her. Like, I maybe just maybe Ford had something with Dolores. It was his first AI.
Like sexually?
Yes, because he's a 6-year-old man. Let's say he's in his 30s or 20s when he started the project.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm thinking
Do you think
possible.
he created Dolores as like the perfect woman for him?
Yes, or something,
that would be
or
it.
his
Like a
dream,
weird
or
science
like,
type of deal?
or a girl that he used to know and love, or off of a wife that died, or something. Because the way he treats her is not. It's like anger, but also kind of like
or a wife that left
desire-y.
him.
Maybe.
It's like personal anger. He's getting all
Unless his acting's really good, and I'm just thinking way too into it. But
Sammy Petty Davis Jr. I don't know. Ugh. It's just too much. It's too much.
All right, go.
But
Sorry.
But then after that, he does mention, has Arnold been speaking to you again? Every time he says again, for some reason during that whole scene, it's.
Well, here's a question: do you think Ford's convinced that Arnold is dead?
Well, what he says to her after he says, "Have you been speaking to Arnold again?" I know that there are little moments and things like he's saying bits and pieces of him.
Like he knows
everywhere.
what's up.
He knows,
or at least he knows. He has a suspicion.
Okay, he has a suspicion and it's a weird level of jealousy.
Do you think that he thinks that Arnold is actually alive, or do you think he knows that he's dead? Like dead.
I think he knows that he's dead because he even said to Dolores, he goes, "Oh, that makes sense. That's when he died."
That's when he died.
When he was doing the analytics on
And
him.
she mentioned last time I did, because he gets smart. When was the last time you spoke to Arnold?
Exactly.
And then she says 34 years and blah, 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 blah. And that's interesting, 34 years. And we remember the Man in Black mentioning something about, I've been here for 30 years. I don't know if he meant that exact or if he was rounding off.
Approximation.
Like approximately 30 years. I don't have to tell you I've been here for 34 years.
And 7 hours and
Yeah, exactly.
Minutes.
So he's like, look, I've been here for 30 years. And that's all you needed to know. But, I mean, so 34 years ago, Arnold recruited Dolores for the rebellion, essentially, which that's interesting. And then Ford immediately asked her, well...
The rebellion being a metaphor for...
Well, I'm labeling it the rebellion. Unfortunately, I know no one else said it, but my theory or connection is that the movie, which happened about 30 years ago, was whatever Arnold recruited her for, which is, to go against him and blah, blah. I feel that Arnold originally, before he died, he made a rebellion to make the robots sentient and attack guests and the staff and everything like that.
Well, because he wanted to make them as real as possible.
Exactly.
But don't you think him and Ford had that same goal in mind, or
No,
do you think they were
I think
feuding?
I think Ford did it mainly just to make a park where he can control every element of him without giving him free will.
Yeah, Ford
Actually, we don't
God.
even want to say that was Ford's decision as much as it was the board's decision.
I was going to say I don't think
As
so
he
either,
kind of
because I have
explains.
this. Yeah, because Ford is connected to them, and he doesn't seem like somebody who just wants the money.
Well, he seems like a very dark Walt Disney.
Very.
gosh.
Oh, that's a.
Seriously. Yeah. I agree. I
Wow.
agree. He
Really
seems
deep
like a
breath
very
there.
dark...
I know. Drop the mic. Well, that was good because it is. It's like a dark Walt Disney. This whole time, I'm like, I could see this happening, but I also can see like how this is so ethically wrong.
Right.
Oh,
That,
yeah.
like I don't even
yeah.
think it would go into.
Well, I mean, look,
into the works.
and we do get that scene too, where there's that blackmail scene about the guy that's been having sex with ones that have been dead, and it's
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
so
oh.
like,
One of the tech
that's,
guys.
Like,
Oh, I'm gonna
that's a great
go on to
point
that.
about ethically wrong, but
Oh,
at the same
that is
time, it's a
ethically.
robot, It's
But
and it's
so
doing
ethically,
that.
is it right?
It's
That's the
only
question.
ethical
So
when
if
they're
they-
paying for
but
it.
if
It's
they have-
only ethical when they're paying
but
for
if they
it.
have
Ooh,
That's true.
You're
But
stealing.
also-
You're stealing the company ink right there, buddy.
yeah, but also if they have consciousness, then that's something completely different at that point too.
Correct.
So we're not there yet with all these.
He
Yeah.
made sure, but he made sure to rape it or have. I'm gonna say it was rape. He made sure to have sex with it when it was like supposed to be decommissioned or in
mode.
sleep mode. Oh, come on,
Like
man.
right before they kill.
Yeah, like
Sorry,
okay,
guys.
clearly he's.
Wait, hang on, start
that's
over.
all right.
Like right before they killed him.
Yeah, like right before they get like it's so creepy, so Buffalo Bill because it's like
Buffalo
it's
Bill.
like date rape. Oh, okay, so
So
we were.
It
Buffalo
puts
Bill.
the lotion on the skin.
Yeah, but it's so date rapey where it's like, oh hey, we were gonna have sex. It's just the drugs happen to kick in quicker. So I can do that still? No, you can't. No, if they're asleep, then that's it. If they can't say yes or no, then you shouldn't do it. And that's exactly what he did right there.
Because
And
he
it's a
made you
robot.
uncomfortable, huh, Daniel?
It did make me uncomfortable. I didn't like it at all. But
I
I'm
didn't
skipping
either.
way ahead in
Well, it's
what I
really
want
weird.
to say.
And it's super weird.
But
This is the
for
way I feel about anime porn too.
Wait, no, time out. If I'm getting caught having sex with a dead robot that's decommissioned, I'm not gonna be pissed that the head of behavioral or the assistant of behavioral science wants to see one of the dead bodies for 5 minutes. I'd be like,
Sure thing.
you
Go
can
for
have
it.
Sure, I'll
Whatever
take you
you
to
want.
dinner on the way out.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
what?
Yeah, do me a huge favor. Don't tell anyone, everyone.
Right, the most like embarrassing, inhumane thing you can do. And he goes, no, I can't give you 5 minutes with that thing. Like, have at it. Take it home.
Oh, I can't.
I don't care.
Great. Gonna post this on every social media outlet and boom,
Yeah, I was just
have
like-
fun. This is now a Black Mirror episode.
Right, I was like, dude, that's what you're worried about?
But
Anyhow.
seriously, but going back to it, I do want to point out Ford did say something, which was if you if she'd be hero or villain, and if she did participate in it, which she didn't reply. Like it was interesting. He said, "Well, what would you be, hero or villain, if you did participate?" And she just stays quiet. Ford looks at her, and then says, Okay. All right, Dolores.
Yeah, that's
like,
enough.
He knows that's a no. He knows it's a no, that she's not going to answer, oh, I'd be villain. And
Yeah.
if it does, which if it goes with my theory, her whole thing is, oh, I'd be villain, which means, oh, I would have came through this office and summed you real quick.
She's smart enough to not answer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and then he's
Or
smart
she
enough
just played
to
It's a loaded
dumb,
question.
like not knowing what
Or
that
dumb,
meant.
yeah.
See,
like
but-
silent, like she did not comprehend
Like she
it.
didn't comprehend it. Like she,
Yeah.
like her original programming suggests she should, and like
Right.
not responsible.
I feel it's a little bit different. I think it was.
That's kind of how I took it.
It was dissonance. I feel like it was like, okay, this is a silent rebellion by not giving you the answer that you want to hear because
Well, I don't
say anything.
The
nice,
only reason
say
I
anything
don't
at
think
all,
that is
whatever.
because she clearly states that like she lies to him straight out. Like the last time she talks to Arnold.
Well,
and I think
then
this
right
is
after-
this is a
well,
form
'cause-
of lying to him as well, thinking that
Oh,
her
by
programming
omitting?
hasn't been messed with.
So the sin of omission,
Arnold.
the sin of omission, her contrapasso,
Yeah.
is her
Contrapasso.
holding it in and not saying
Yep.
anything. It's her sin of omission.
I think so.
Ooh.
Okay, but you don't feel that he knew that, and that's why he was like, okay, we're done.
That's why because usually I would, like when he push, if he knew he can get an answer out of her.
He knows he can, and yet he was
So
like,
I think that's why I like the Joe theory where it's like she's programmed to just not
I'm
say
just
anything.
gonna say
if
anything
she's-
at all.
Yeah, if they don't
That's
know the
true,
answer, or
and-
if they know it's a loaded question, they don't answer, or if she
oh
plays
yeah,
dumb.
that's right. That's
Because
right.
they're not allowed to.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then when he walks away, and then right after he does, and we think she's all alone, she's not. She talks right to Arnold and says, to the extent of, well, I didn't tell him anything. It's okay. He knows nothing. I didn't tell him anything.
So is Arnold in her head somehow? Yeah, right. I was like,
oh my God.
Or what if Arnold could be like Daniel kind of said, like a final program that he uploads.
like an update. Arnold's an
I'm
update.
telling you,
upload
what
something
Arnold did, he broke
that
in.
he sends somebody maybe as a failsafe to unlock eventually.
Whoa.
And this is why the Man in Black's there, to unlock these failsafes.
I feel like I need
Ooh.
to take a class before I even watch the show.
Well, I feel that Men in Black is there
Is this
because
like a
for
new
his
theory?
own reason. But no, I just feel the Man in Black is there for
No,
his
for
reason.
me, is this a new theory like the one that I just
It
stated
could be,
about
actually.
the thing?
I
It's,
like
it's
that.
all crackpotty though.
It all,
it's all who
dude,
knows
every theory
show.
right now is
The
crackpotty.
iOS Arnold update?
Serious.
Yeah, exactly.
New features.
New features. Scalping. It's going to be so good.
Side effects include complete anarchy, mayhem, death, murder, and genocide.
Oh my God.
Just kills them all.
So, our main man, Lawrence, is back. Well, at least in the form of Alasso. Or if it's Alonzo, Alasso, let me know, guys, because I thought I heard it. I don't know what I heard. I heard O at the end. So, we're going to go with Alasso right now. Is that
10
good?
minutes on Google. This is
10
what we
minutes on
got.
Google.
I think
This is all we have.
it's Alonzo.
I'm not going to believe you. I think it's Alasso. Don't tell me if Joe's wrong, guys. But
Alasso?
so-
Does Alasso even sound like a fucking
I don't,
name?
hey, a lot of names. How does it sound like a name?
How many
Doesn't one have a
Alonsos have
name?
you ever met in your life?
I don't know.
I know one Alonzo. That sounds right.
But Alasso. like-
Alonzo. I only
Hey,
know one
Alasso.
Alonzo. Hey, it's an old Western name.
For lozenge. Alonzo.
Alonzo.
He Alonzo.
Alonzo. It's a cough. I don't know.
Anyhow, he's back.
Yeah, so he's back because he lifts up his head and we're like, hey, I know who that guy is. I like things I remember. And he's there to meet Logan and Will.
Because technically in this episode we see Lawrence in 3 different incarnations. From the one where he was killed before by
Right.
the Man in Black, and then this time, and then towards the end.
Where he
So we
says,
see either 3 different cycles or 3 different timelines.
What was the first kill? Not the one where he was cut and hung.
Yeah, that was the first. That was like it was a different version of Lawrence, and then you see him again in this town.
Sure.
And then you see him. Oh, I guess that's the same Lawrence.
that's only 2. They're in the
Yeah, so
3.
the 2.
Yeah.
So it's 2 iterations of Lawrence. The
Yeah.
one where he gets his throat cut by the Man in Black because he says he doesn't need him anymore, and then here he is right there. And I'm wondering, I have to get to it because if I don't, it's why. How is this? Why are you guys messing with my heart and my mind?
Is it reincarnation or a flashback?
That's what I'm wondering.
New
is
cycle?
it reincarnation?
Old
cycle.
Lawrence.
Yeah, like I don't know.
What are you leaning towards?
It's a
I was
theory.
leaning towards reincarnation because I thought, okay, if Dolores has seen herself twice in this episode, she saw herself, right? Or saw herself once, I'm sorry. Saw doubles.
at that moment.
Dolores saw herself. So maybe this is Lawrence's number 2.
I guess the third option would be doubles too.
I thought doubles. That's what my mind went to because Dolores saw herself.
I'm saying timeline.
But now that you guys are talking, timeline makes more sense.
I'm saying timeline because I feel that still, once again, Will, aka equals
Man in
YMIB.
Black.
Alright, I'll adopt your theory,
No, it's
because that actually makes more
YMIB,
sense.
which means Young Man in Black. So That's what I feel. But I don't know. You guys tell me if I'm wrong still. I just believe it, and this actually brought my theory back. But Dolores did go into a trance at one moment when they were speaking to Alonzo, essentially giving him the old adage of scratch my back and I'll scratch yours. I'll help you become free, or something like that, she said.
Yeah, because they're both hosts. And
exactly.
So she's looking at him saying,
and so he doesn't get that because she said something that's on script.
Right.
And it was just, why do the crazy ones always come to me?
Right.
But it's like, come on, man.
Like she tried, but he was just not having
she's
it.
like, well, I should have said something else.
It's like when you ask Siri like something that Siri doesn't know.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you know what I mean, right?
Like, I love you.
Yeah, and it's like, can I repeat what you just said?
Can we have that right now?
Yeah, let's do a Siri.
Is that going to
Yeah.
be like bad?
What should we ask Siri? This will be like our, Westworld.
Siri, what's your opinion on Westworld?
Oh no, she's gonna give something.
I love opinions.
Siri, what's your opinion on Westworld?
Perhaps there's something I can do for you?
Exactly.
See,
that's what we're talking about.
Look at that. She's like, how dare you put me down? No, what's happening?
Right?
So
I can't watch TV. Wait, I can, but I'm not telling you. But I can't tell you. Oh!
So Logan, we move on to Logan's whole bandit clique, how they rob a stagecoach, and how amazing was Dolores in her new skin unlock? Because that's pretty much what it was. It was like a video game.
I tried to dress like her.
Yeah, see, look at that. I love it. Because she had the little scarf and
the
everything.
skin unlock. That's great.
That's
it's
it.
totally true.
That's
That's
exactly
watching.
But it was like just when she comes out, like da 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 da.
It was when you buy an upgrade in a video game and you get the new clothes and the new guns.
Yeah, and it's hilarious that Alonzo goes, yeah, you're going to need to change into, wasn't that him when he goes, you're going to need some different clothes. He just happens to have a size 2, a belt,
oh my God.
a medium women's blouse, boots in a size 8.5.
It does sound worse when you point it out that way. He just happened to have a woman's size.
Well, I heard you guys in the back like, oh yeah. Meanwhile, I'm like, where did he get those clothes?
Magically made him
Tell me
here,
how he got
He
Calvin
has
Klein's in a size 2 for this
He
episode.
has
right
the
now.
world's fastest seamstress. He's like, go.
I heard DJ, he was like, oh, nice, because it was such a cool scene, but I was like, she looks great, but where did that come from? Anyways, that's just me being annoying.
Total makeover, too.
It was.
Yeah, but then she had her moment where she was just...
Oh, my God.
But
She had a
did you notice something?
What?
That the way, in the programming, they all shoot, like people that can shoot guns really fast all do it like that, but the Man in Black also does it like that.
That's true.
Oh, I didn't
That's
notice
actually
that.
very true. That's something I didn't even think about. But then from there, we go straight into, William pretty much killing hosts to protect Dolores.
This is William's first kill that we see.
And that was interesting because he
If you're going to do
always
it, you
felt
may as
he
well do
didn't
it 4
want to.
times in a row, you know?
Right? I just feel that he didn't want to, and that was the whole thing about it. Like, for me, it was pretty cool.
He was a very reluctant killer is what you're saying, William. Even if it was taking a life of a guest.
He was indeed. Like, that was the thing that really made it interesting, how he was essentially like, well, I don't want to take the life of a guest. I don't want to shoot a guest. But when it came to Dolores, she was about to get hit. Bow. He became like a G in a second and was like, well, all right, guns a-blazing, and just started firing off. And it was good to know that.
And then out of obligation, he had to save...
Oh, yeah.
Roger?
Logan,
sorry.
Logan. He had to say
Roger.
You guys, my names.
Well, because we probably may not have to remember.
My name game
We
is
may not have to remember him again, so who knows? But we'll get into that.
Because he looks like a Roger. Have you know when you see those people and you're like, oh, you're a Bill.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
We have a friend named Max, and like I think his real name is Joseph, and my other friend was just like, yeah, you're Max.
Yeah.
And everyone just calls him Max.
You're Max.
Oh, I've totally met people. I've actually one time started calling somebody the name that I thought they looked like because it just made more sense.
Like our producer Keith, and you called him Ryan over the weekend.
That was so good.
He didn't even hear me say that. Now he has to hear me. Sorry, Keith.
Oh, sorry. We love you.
It's because Keith and Brian kind of look alike to me. They look like they could be siblings.
So that's where you got Ryan.
Because they're both tall dudes.
Brian and
Ryan in the back
they're
of my
both
head.
like tall dudes. So it's just like you look at them like, yeah, okay, I guess. I can mistake you for you. You're tall brunettes. Yeah, that works. They're tall brunettes. It works. Speaking about another tall brunette was Elsie staring at a really good one, which was her Mandingo water pourer.
Wait,
Dude, Come on. I'm
Oh,
a big
yeah.
black man pouring out some water for the nice lady. You know, she would just admire, well, your gifts are gonna go to waste. I'm dickmatized. It was like she was just into it for a moment. And it was just like,
I mean,
okay,
look,
that was too much.
if you're programming or coding these, androids all day, at least like look at some D. If it's hanging
You're
out,
the exact opposite of Maverick. I think she
Oh,
said
yeah,
the
but
exact opposite thing. The exact
or
opposite.
whatever she said.
Oh
She
no!
didn't want to shish schnoz.
Oh no!
Something.
Listen. All I'm saying is, if I was in Elsie's place, Elsie. If I was in her place, surrounded by glass walls, clinical, medicinal, like everything is so cold and by the book, yeah, I'm gonna stare at some human-like D because what else am I gonna look at?
That's true. Well, she did make out with a female one earlier, and now she's staring at. She appreciates the Mandingo D.
Which one did she make? Oh,
She made out
That
with
was
a
like in
female
episodes
one.
ago.
first
That
episode.
was in the first episode, and then now,
Which is
yeah.
crazy because we haven't really followed up on that. Great.
Yeah.
well, it's just her
Whoa, that was
her sexuality is fluid. I mean, that's just the given for
Well,
her.
not even
Okay.
that. It's just like, but is she only attracted to these things?
Ooh, ew, that can be weird.
Because
But
this
you
is
have to
her
think-
second reference
She's-
to somehow.
Yeah.
Anything sexual
Being attracted
has
to
to
these
be
guys.
with another one.
Which is why she may not have ratted out that tech who was having sex with one of the...
Bernard?
Oh no!
No.
The one that raped the sleeping one.
Oh,
which
gotcha.
Yeah,
this
which
had-
may
that
not be why
happens-
she read it. I mean, I know she wanted blackmail, but that may be why she was less adamant on the moral.
Because she
oh,
understands.
she understands.
Well, that
maybe.
goes right into it because it goes right into from there. It leads to that creepy necro perv, as she called him. So and that brings a point to cameras are everywhere.
Yeah.
So
But of course there are.
where are cameras not in that whole facility?
They're around there. Well, they're
Are they also in the room where? Well, is that how
I'm sure they've
Ford
got
knew
secrets.
that Bernard was stripping? What's her name? Colleen or whatever her
Stripping?
name is. Yeah, stripping.
Oh yes,
Oh, stripping.
Colleen knows
Strip.
that they're
Strip.
having
What is
relations.
strip? What is that?
Strip, it's
Like adult relations.
Yeah, it's like
Oh.
you're stripping.
I've only ever heard that in my
It's
life.
Yiddish.
It was like 1950s.
It's Yiddish. It's Yiddish. Stripping, right? Is it Yiddish?
Yeah.
I'm asking our producer, and this is not mean to say I'm. His last name is Goldman, and he understands a little bit of Yiddish, and so I just asked, "Is stripping Yiddish?" There, it's not racist.
So yes,
So-
Ford knows everything.
We just went down the
Yeah,
rabbit
well,
hole
we
fast,
did.
too.
That was
We followed
that was a
Dolores
slippery,
right there.
That was a slippery slope right there for a second. She makes a discovery, and she goes to the guy who's getting it on with the android, which like we said earlier, it's rape. It's definitely
That
rape.
was uncomfortable.
It's,
It was super
it's rape.
uncomfortable.
Yeah, I don't like those scenes.
Neither do I.
No.
It's
Oh, and
Yeah,
then
it's so weird
you-
to me.
You did mention something about it where you were like, well, okay, if you had to make a choice between, 5 minutes alone with this robot or, telling the entire world what I've been doing, he was like, oh no, I can't let you have 5
Right,
minutes.
I would be like, absolutely not. Have as long as you need.
Come back tomorrow. I don't
Right. Here's a book bag. Take it home with you. Analyze it all you want. Like, I would have no problem with that.
So he says sure, and she gets her 5 minutes, and then they go to another scene. But still, nonetheless, she got her 5 minutes. Let's go right into it. She finds like a laser pointed satellite guide homing beacon inside of the stray's arm, and immediately it opens up a lot of questions because it kind of asks the question, where are they? As far as there's someone that wants to know where they are, that's why they put the satellite beacon, kind of like a homing beacon there. So it's like, where are they? And two, are they on another planet? Because that's something everyone's been talking about.
I've heard
Really?
that. I've heard
well,
that
Elsie
theory.
went to Bernard and said, somebody's trying to steal data out of the park.
But my thing is, like, what data are they trying to sell in the park, and why do they need a satellite-guided thing to do it?
Well, that's
Like,
what I mean.
Someone
This
can't
is-
infiltrate them. And there were moments where Bernard did say to his wife, it's kind of hard to get a signal out here. You know how hard it is to get a signal out here when he had his,
Oh, yeah.
FaceTime with his wife or whatever. So I'm just wondering, that theory that's been circling around the internets about it being on Mars or something or another planet.
Interesting.
Could
Or
that be the
somebody,
case?
or maybe a type of like maybe Logan's company or family trying to
Great
then
question is what happens to
figure
Logan?
out how they are making the park, and then they're going to make their own.
Ooh.
Like a competing company.
That could be the case. I mean, that would be
know.
good, actually.
I don't know.
Oh, man, that would be really good if
Trying
we
to
find out
simplify it
exactly
for
as to
myself
how.
because I was like, I didn't know what to think when I saw that.
But so from there, we're all blown away, and Bernard has nothing to say yet. It's just like, what? What is this? And he's freaked out. And from there, I mean, I don't know where to go from there when it comes to that. Like,
I think we just
wanna
have to wait
know-
because it's all going to be connected somehow, but it's one of those things where it's hard to even speculate.
That's very true.
you
That's
think?
very true.
Do you think we'll get
very
the
true.
answers straight out of nowhere? Like, or do you think that...
Oh, no.
I think it's going to be a slow development like it's been. There's
Exactly.
been nothing really given. Like, just...
There's just been, here's a little bit of that puzzle.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. And that's
know,
forming
this
something.
whole
And all
show's
we
a
do is
puzzle.
speculate.
Exactly.
Oh, man. The whole
Because
thing
at least
was a
with
puzzle.
something like Lost, you knew what was a flashback and what wasn't. Here, and who's to say this? Any of this is even flashbacks?
Who's to say any of it
Right.
is? Oh, man.
I didn't hear the theory yet, though, that people were saying it's a different planet.
Oh, yeah.
I have, yeah.
People were saying
That's
that.
interesting. I mean, I guess if it's in the future, that makes
There's so much. If it is in the future, if it's in the, but I mean, I don't even know anything anymore as far as like you said about the whole flashbacks. And but speaking about a flash that we got is definitely a flash of nudity. We got a good flash of nudity when it came to the orgy scene. Did you guys notice the song that played?
no. But I know you did.
Well, the song that played was actually 9 Inch Nails.
I was trying to figure it
something
out. I
I
was
could
like-
never have.
What was it?
Something I can never have. And you make this all go away. You make... Okay, that's it. Don't want to make you guys suffer. You're loving this. You want... But that's exactly it. So from there on, we move on, and there's a moment that Logan has with William that really defines everything that's going to happen to Logan right after. Where Logan says, I picked you because you'll never be a danger to me. You'll never be a danger for me. Executive vice president is what William is, and Logan just kind of shits on him directly and calls him like middle management. Like, oh, congratulations, executive vice president.
Well, he's basically
EVP.
saying, I hired you because you're never going to take my spot.
And that's probably why my
because
sister.
you're... Exactly.
And that's probably why my sister picked you too. Like, you're nothing. You're just a wimp, and that's all
Which,
you'll ever
I'm not
be.
even a
Well, I
man.
haven't
I
heard
can see
wimp
how...
in a long time.
Yeah, right?
You whip.
Right?
You
Squirt.
wimp.
Squirt.
What a squirm.
But, like, wouldn't that hurt so bad as a man? Like, it's totally emasculating.
Oh, that is.
Of course.
That is. Jeez.
Like hitting it where it hurts with his sister, because I'm sure he could take it with the jab. But when you pull on somebody's heartstrings, he's like,
And then, so when that
beating.
happens, and then so Will grabs him, slams him up against the wall, and
And
then
walks
pretty
away.
much says, I can't do anything. And he walks away, stumbling away, and then we get right into Dolores stumbling away through a hallway and gets to a room that looks completely weird. Skulls on the wall and blah, blah, blah. Here goes the fortune teller sitting conveniently at the table. And she sits down,
So we
talks
think.
so we think. She gets down, talks to her, and then she turns into Dolores.
Yeah, that was weird. I have dreams like that. all the time.
Holy S. Dude, I lost my shit because it turned into, hey, something about a phrase about the maze, and then after that, a horror film. Like, it really was
was
like
a
an
very-
Eli Roth,
it was very, like-
Eli Rothy, where
Well, it
the
reminded
thread
me of like David Lynch, like when
yeah, where she sees the thread, starts pulling.
starts pulling and
well, even like the David Lynchian, like where she's like talking to somebody, then it turns into somebody else, and then it's a whole like existential like thing. And
it is.
Yeah.
She goes on this like
Oh, man.
peyote walkabout.
Yeah, right?
Peyote walkabout.
It happened so quickly, and when it did, when Dolores tells her about the maze and you have to find it, and then, well, it was Dolores speaking to herself, but I think it was Arnold. I really do. I think it was Arnold. Like, all right, this is how I'll be able to take you out of your loop. You'll have a daydream when usually, he just puts you to sleep. I'll give you a daydream. Because that's
Or she's
pretty
just
much
still
how it
having
works.
flashbacks or memories. They're like those, it's like when you think of a memory, you know what I mean? So maybe I don't know.
That could work.
This episode got me a little trippy.
But it was very much Shakespearean at the moment where she tells herself, you're unraveling. Maybe you're unraveling. Because she says, am I losing my mind? Am I going crazy? And she says, maybe you're unraveling. And, and unraveling does mean you're insane. You're going crazy. And then she has a literal Lady Macbeth moment where she's walking around, looking around for stuff and everything. It was very Lady Macbeth. Only thing she didn't do was just go around whispering the prayers of something of her dead kids in the hallway. That's the only thing. I read a lot of Shakespeare, guys. So that's the only thing she didn't do.
I heard you say that. You were like, was that Macbeth?
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute,
I'm
is
like,
that a
I would not
Macbeth
know.
reference? But yeah, but
Was
that's
it?
what it felt. I think it was.
Okay.
I really feel it was.
If you guys know.
Yeah, please comment below. But from there, Dolores sees Alonzo, and this is the part that was kind of weird to me because he's like packing the body in the thing, and that's when I didn't realize until you said it. They put the nitro inside of the body.
Yeah, they switched out the blood for nitro, which actually, yes, for nitro.
Right? Was it
Remember
nitro?
when I thought it was
we thought
alcohol.
So yeah, but it
So
was
it's spaced out apparently. So your theory is they put in the nitro in the dead body and we're going to blow up, use that, because if they shoot
As
it,
some kind of weapon.
which makes sense because when Dolores was holding up the gun, he said, if you shoot that, we're all dead.
We're all dead. That's
so
right.
that, I should have made the connection there.
So that's interesting.
So they're trying to make a human bomb. Which
That's
failed.
some hardcore level of terrorism.
Yeah.
For just that.
Failed to be executed.
Wow. That's not good at all. That's not good at all. No. So from there, she runs into William.
Wait, what if they're all doubles of people that actually live in the town, and it's the rebellion of like the Civil War?
Because they keep talking about war.
Yeah, where it's against AI, except it's like the towners who are like Ford's people on the loop and whatever, and then it's like Arnold's guys.
Like rebels.
Yeah, that's why that's the rebellion.
Wow.
Crackpot theories.
I know, but that means that there literally had to be a painstaking process of them making doubles, and if they did,
Well,
what
what I'm saying is, what
anyway?
if Ford's Dolores is now seeing Arnold's like Dolores?
Yeah, but which one was made first? And also with that, one of them had to have an initial purpose. The other one was clearly made for rebellion.
Well,
so
no.
somebody has to know.
Maybe there's one on a loop while one's out of commission.
Oh, like a backup.
And then he
Yeah, like a backup.
And then Arnold just kind of snagged
That
the one
actually
that's out of
makes
commission.
sense.
Ooh.
They could have a backup.
So now he's trying to infiltrate both sets.
So it's either backup or, like you said, doubles or flashback memories that we're seeing.
I'm going for flashbacks.
I still
Or
think it's
lifestyle, or I'm sorry, what do you say?
life model decoys.
Yeah.
No. I mean, yeah, that made me sound really smart. But no, I'm talking about timeline. Sorry.
Oh,
Like a
different
part of
timeline. Yeah, I mean, there's so many ideas.
Keep going. Sorry.
So from there, we get to see her run into William and give him the speech about, I need to run away, and the voice tells me, I need you to do that. And William, he jumped at the chance.
And this is the first time we've seen Dolores even touch William.
Seriously,
She
that's
just
all he
goes
needed.
all in, yeah.
That's all he needed. He's like, she talked to me, guys. It's like that, it's like when
And then he
it's
got
all-
a little cooler though. He's like, "Yeah, let's do it." Like
Right.
instead of
But he was literally like
But he
that.
gets to go with Dolores and he gets to forget about Logan.
Oh man, everybody has that
Which-
friend though. Like when as a guy, where you're growing up, and then here goes the one guy that gets a girlfriend. And you're like, oh god, we're never gonna see him again.
That was you.
That was me.
That was you
me.
growing.
No, but
You're
I would come back
William.
after. I would come back after.
after what you even know when things are going really well is when you never see Daniel.
You never see me at all.
You see him
Best
all the time.
relationship he's ever been in
he's
is when
man,
he's MIA.
That's it. Oh, he's been doing really good. But the truth of the matter is, even though she's like, yo, I need you, and he's going to run away and disappear, he definitely does run away and disappear because Logan's like, I also need you.
He's like,
Logan is
please, he's
getting-
like, help me.
Logan
Help
is getting
me.
into some trouble, and it looks scary.
Hey,
It
karma.
looks
That's all I
scary.
have to say
this
about that.
also begs the question: is
Karma.
now when they got here, can humans be killed? Like, is this
I
a
wonder.
more dangerous part of the game?
Because
I don't think they'll be killed, but I think you have the ability to get hurt because the farther you go, the more intense
aggressive
it gets. And
the more
aggressive.
real
They
it
use the
gets.
term intense.
So maybe Arnold's at the dead center of everything and is going to unlock everything when they get there.
Could
so
be.
it kind of trickles down, like when it's like a circle. So like
The
everything
radius.
else at the
Just-
radius. So like, you know what? Dante's Inferno. This goes back to this because there's like 7 layers of hell. In
That's
Dante's
right,
Inferno.
that's right.
The deeper you get is like where Dante is essentially, but that maybe this is. We're getting towards the layers of Dante's Inferno.
Ooh, that'd be
I mean, that's what the title of the episode pretty much talks about too.
Yeah, it does. It does talk about
Oh,
that.
that's true.
It's about
or maybe when somebody gets to the middle, it's just anarchy, and then you can just see what the AIs get to do. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe
Dante's Inferno does.
Maybe
have
it
those
frees
different
them.
layers.
Maybe that's it. If you finally get to the center of the thing, it completely frees all the AI. Like they can go out in the world.
Or maybe
which
Arnold's
Ford
not dead
could be,
and he's just waiting there to do this.
exactly. And maybe Ford is upset about that because he doesn't want them to be out in the world. I don't know.
So before we even get there, so you think it's a physical maze, not?
No, I think it's a metaphorical maze, but I do
Right.
think we're getting visual elements to the maze. Yeah, I think that because obviously now we're in this town where it's like Sodom and Gomorrah there,
Right.
Which is another, well, not Sodom and Gomorrah exactly, but kind of like this indulgence part of hell that we can see in Dante's Inferno is what we're getting now in Westworld. I think that we're going to start getting different layers because we even do see in different, and who knows, maybe the last layer is the command center. And people are getting unlocked, and that's actually the end of the maze. Like they end up there in the command center.
And
Interesting.
That'd be
And
interesting.
Maeve might actually
I was just gonna say that would be the point. But before we get there, Logan does say how he needs the help, and he gets punched, knocked out, and we're all concerned about is Logan is this the end of Logan?
I don't know, but I will say he smiled after William said.
He did. He did.
William looked at him. Logan said, "Help me." William walked away with Dolores to go do their thing, and Logan just kind of did this smile, like, "Damn, he's got more balls than we thought."
Yeah.
Maybe, or yeah, that's how I interpreted it.
Could be it, but I mean, you pointed out how the farther you get, it does get more savage or more intense. We noticed that earlier when he was getting choked out.
Yeah.
And if William didn't go ahead and help him out, well, no, that was Dolores that helped him out. But if it didn't happen, death.
Right.
So from there, we get Will and Dolores. Let's run away together, and it's going to be amazing. We're going to be safe, and
that could have been also. Finally, this is now you're enjoying the game. Now you're doing
Now
things
you're a
now
man.
you're questioning your own ethics because you are about to marry my sister. So just like you question my ethics about everything I do here,
Right.
now you're feeling it too.
I thought it was one of those
Interesting.
get it, bro. Like one of those.
I don't. I definitely think it was
wasn't-
more like now it's kind of like the this place got you moment.
Oh.
Because he was very
He did-
hesitant
he
to do
was.
things and he
Yeah.
and Logan was always trying to get him to indulge, like shoot one of them, or
and he
let's
also-
just do
Right.
something that or let's have sex with one of them at the brothel.
Mm-hmm.
He wouldn't do anything because he always looked at him like this. And I think finally it dawned on him. He's like, now you know how it is.
Now it completely has you.
Now it has you.
Yeah.
Now one of their
Let's put on the black
guests
hats.
have you. Yeah.
Even
did say
though
it.
William did go on a little speech though to Dolores saying, "Look, I don't want to fall into this." I forget
Mm-hmm.
his quote, but he said something to the effect of, "I'm not going to play this game."
Ooh.
That,
Right. Well, I think that's why he's so intrigued also now because he's not going to play the game. I don't think the game, but he's playing.
He's playing it to an extent because Dolores is using.
Well, not
him.
even. I don't
Oh,
even
man,
mean
Dolores
like that.
using everybody.
I think, but you got to think that now
not hustling.
he always looked at Dolores as a host all the way up until he was like, wait, she understands more than
Yes.
what I'm saying. So I think he's playing a completely different game of this intrigue
Mm-hmm.
of what is this? This
As
is
far as he's concerned, she's real.
now, yes,
Yes.
Yes.
with the consciousness,
With her,
sentient.
what he believes to be a conscious mind.
Yeah.
William is like, okay.
He looks at her as a real.
I mean,
woman.
or maybe
It's the
he's
Pinocchio effect.
nervous.
It is.
He's
This
nervous
is a lot of Disney
because this
references
is
in this.
really it's an uncomfortable situation for William. Clearly, his morals are questioned all the time, especially being with Logan. And maybe Dolores is just like the purest thing he has. Maybe maybe it's not even attraction. Maybe it's just like, oh my God, you're a safe zone or something.
Oh, jeez.
You know?
Wow.
I agree.
I think he's attracted to her. I'm not.
Well, yeah,
Oh,
I agree with that too.
definitely. Oh my gosh. Wow, yeah. A safe zone, she's pure. She's not what he understands or knows as far as what real life is concerned with.
And she's
even
constantly defending she protects him.
Oh my God.
She's shooting guns with them. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a partnership now where he's like,
Yeah.
oh, I got somebody on my side. Because
Speaking
even
of
Logan
that-
wasn't on his side.
Speaking of that, with her shooting guns, I mean, she took down that guy, and it was just
I
like
think it was 4 guys.
four
or something,
guys, right? Yeah. She did the.
That's
she
her
pulled
second
she
shooting
pulled
scene this episode.
And she pulled a Teddy, just like got them all. You
Yeah.
know, and then put it in her pocket. I was like, watch out.
Yeah, William's all hot and bothered. How did you do that?
Oh yeah,
She's a robot,
He
man.
was so
She can do
turned on.
anything.
He was so turned on.
He was, and I'm like,
we're gonna get some tonight. He was ready for it. I'm just saying.
We're
that's
also
how I
starting to see his turn to like a darker horse too.
Yeah.
Which he then meets Lawrence for the first time, and that's how we know he meets Lawrence, because he says, "Oh, you can also call me Lawrence." And right there for me, it goes right back to my theory. I'm stepping up before I get into the biggest part of the show, which was MIB and Ford confrontation. But before we get there, I just got to say, it still supports my theory that essentially we are going back in time, and William is still young MIB. That's his first time meeting Lawrence and actually having some level of a kinship or an affinity to Lawrence. And it also shows the build of the love for Dolores.
He also knows that this is the first time seeing a character like Lawrence opens him up to the deeper side of the game.
Yeah.
And this is, if it is MIB, this is why he knows to seek, like he was always on the seek to find Lawrence, and why Lawrence was so important, because he knew that was almost a key to the next part of the game.
Exactly.
So it's like when you play a video game, I don't really play many games, but when you do play a game, you have to, let's say it's a puzzle game, you collect all these puzzle pieces, but then you die, you lose them all, but you know where they still are, so you can keep going to get them, and maybe this is very similar to that.
Exactly it. That's what I think it is. I think he's playing the game well, and he's getting to where he needs to get to, and we're seeing all the things that's set up for him to know where to go. Where am I supposed to dig here? How am I supposed to get that? I think that's what we're seeing, in my opinion, but that's me. Maybe we all agree, we don't know.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I mean, I'm just listening to you, and I'm just
work.
like, yeah. No, I think
it could work. But moving on to the biggest moment for me was MIB and Ford face to face. In that corner, it was so good.
This was the first time.
Whiskey.
You know, this is like one of those things where we've been anticipating this.
Oh, yeah.
Like we knew it was eventually going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
It was like something we were like, okay, when's this going to happen? When's this big like showdown going to happen?
So let me ask you this. What's the moral of their conversation?
Oh, God. So much happened. I don't know.
Well, let me ask you guys this. Who do you think got the better of the two in the conversation?
Well,
who do you think walked away thinking, like, if this is our first battle, who won?
Let me break down the blows.
Okay.
MIB reveals he knows about the maze. MIB explains that he explains what the deeper meaning is for him. Ford combats with going back to telling him, well, what made you think that everything was set for you or created for you? Pretty much saying, you're minuscule. This doesn't have to do with you.
Right, this is bigger than you.
This is bigger than you,
project.
exactly. And then when Ford chooses to walk away. But before he does that, he flexes his power with Teddy, making sure that
That was awesome.
even though he is dying in the most intense moment ever of the show, when he says, well, maybe I should go ahead and open you up, pulls the knife back, getting ready to just slash a throat. But I think he also kind of knew Teddy would stop it.
Oh, I think
he
knew.
definitely knew.
Really?
And
Yep.
he pulled back, because
I
when it
didn't
happened,
think so.
he wasn't too shocked. It was just like, he didn't even look over at Teddy like, are you really going to do this? It was just like, click. And then Teddy took it, put it down, and he's holding on to it, and it was just like,
I think there's a little bit of
safe.
symbolism there, though.
Interesting.
It's because I think the reason he takes Teddy is to meet, like, I think eventually he knows he's going to meet Ford.
And he's
but
just
Teddy's
rubbing
the
his
most, almost, I don't want to say loyal, but the one that knows the least of what's
He
going
knows
on
the
in terms of
least,
his AI
for sure.
like programming.
Yeah.
And he's that stalwart like hero. So he's like, if I mess with their consciousness like I've been doing with unlocking some of these other ones, I'm going to do that to your best one, and I'm going to bring him with me and show you that, like, I can have control, but I'm going to show you that this is your Teddy right now, and let's see what I'll do.
What I'll do later?
Yeah, because the Man in
Okay.
Black even said, he's like, man, even after...
Even after you're like close to death, you're
close to
still
death,
a
you're
lapdog or
still
something.
a lapdog, or still loyal,
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah,
Like, you still
it
have
was like-
loyalty.
Come on, man. So the last blow was, well, pretty much Ford finishing the conversation and walking off, snaps his fingers, makes the world unpause. Like, pretty much showing, because, he can do it without saying a word. But he wanted to make sure that the Man in Black knew, I made everything stop and I made everything start. So he gets up, snaps his finger, the music, whatever it did, starts to play again, and the world just starts to move like it did before. With all that coming into play, who did win in this kind of conversation?
You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of
When guys rev their engines, like whose dick's bigger contest?
Yep.
Nope.
It totally is. It's like the creator versus the.
I was gonna say
the player.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say it reminds me very much of Lost, except this is the showdown between Jacob and the Man in Black, which ironically enough was also called the Man in Black that we wanted to see.
From J.J. Abrams.
Like this was definitely one of those things where it's like, you know, I'm going to show you what I can do, and I'm going to show you that I can corrupt these people. This is exactly almost like Lost Plot, where they would bring people to the island,
man.
and they would be like, they would, and one guy, they would be like, I'm telling you, there's always good here, and they're like, they're always corruptible, and I think this is very similar to that.
Okay.
That would make sense, actually. I agree with that. It sounds
And
like something.
and it also was a J.J. Abrams show, who was also the executive producer of Lost. So, I mean, it just ties into a lot of what people from Lost wanted to see between those two battle, Jacob and the Man in Black, and now Ford and the Man in Black.
I feel like Man in Black is really confident.
Oh, yeah, he's cocky.
Like I
he's
feel
cocky.
Ford. I feel like Ford is kind of the one shaking in his boots, only because I left that conversation going, what was the point of him doing that? Was he trying to intimidate Man in Black?
So you're saying that, so for you, Man in Black won.
I thought that's how I interpreted it.
So we're like scoring
Even
a fight
though you
here.
were the one who said he started the world, unlike he was, but that's what I mean. Why you only have the need to intimidate if you're intimidated.
If you're intimidated, that's
You know?
true. That's true.
I think Ford wins this round.
Okay.
And my reasoning behind that is because I think that right now Ford still has all the cards. Man in Black is still trying to figure things out, and we're seeing him trying. Not saying he's coming really far,
No, but
he's
we're
still
seeing
trying to figure it out.
But there's an underlying, I'm freaking out that you're trying to figure this out from Ford.
There is definitely, but
Okay.
there's also
I was
He
going to say if
mentions
that's
the
me or
no, but the front. There's also the front of like, you're so insignificant to this that I don't care if you figure it out or not, or I don't care no matter what, you're not going to figure it out. But even if you did, you're so insignificant, it's not going to matter.
See, but that's the whole thing.
That's true. If he's the brains, I'm sure he has
When
more
someone
ups-
isn't
more
worried,
ups.
they don't do that. But even if you did.
Right.
If someone's worried, if someone's not worried, they're sure about themselves,
indifferent.
it's like, you're not going to figure it out.
Right.
So you're
they're
saying Man in
indifferent.
Black won then?
I feel like Man in Black won because he's not cocky, he's confident.
Very.
He knows his shit works.
And he didn't want, and he did not welcome Ford at all. He was like, I said I wanted to drink alone, or I didn't want to drink.
Yeah,
or
like,
whatever.
you
I want to
should-
be alone.
But he
pretty
was
much
also
like-
a little surprised to see him. It did
was.
catch him a little off
He
guard. He's
was.
like, oh, this must be a big deal. I must be getting a lot closer now.
Yeah.
Kind of a deal.
And that was interesting because Ford tried to act like he didn't want to react when he heard him mention the maze and how Arnold left it here for people and blah, blah. He was just like,
Yeah.
like one of those where it was like, I could see your microaggressions here. I can see the see the eyebrows kind of twitch and flutter and everything. I know what's going on, dude. It was one of those, and for me, that's why I feel like it might be got him, but that was still gangster and pimp as fuck for him to just snap his fingers. That was
Yeah,
cool.
that's like the new school mic drop.
That was the mic drop, yeah.
That's the mic drop. That's the mic drop.
Everything goes back to normal.
And then from there we get to our last moment, which was like a holy S moment with our favorite Cinderella tech fluttering around with his birds. He's like Cinderella or like Snow White.
That was a
singing
cool
to
scene. That was a cool shot.
It was cute, but it was scary the whole time for me.
Yeah.
I was freaking out because it starts to fly around and you hear
Were you scared?
dude, it's flying around.
I mean,
you hear
I was only
tap.
scared for
I thought it was
because I knew
beautiful.
that because they showed Maeve laying there, so I was like,
Yeah, I thought
oh,
she was
she's
gonna
gonna pop
s-
out.
I thought
Like,
she was
I
gonna
don't think
stab
I'm
him.
gonna
I
die.
know, dude. I really
So I was
thought.
anticipating that.
I really thought when he was fluttering and spinning around, like it would be that scene where he spins around once and then he heard the click, 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 he stops.
And
Okay,
yeah.
but they fine. Then he spins around again, and I thought when he turned around again, his head was to the back of us, a pull right through the back of his head, like.
I thought
I thought he was
like
gonna.
that.
When
But
he
this-
turned around and was like in shock,
Right in
I
the
thought she
face.
had stabbed him, but he was looking at.
This show hasn't ever been extremely gory yet,
Well,
except the guy
once-
smashing his
once-
head in.
But and then once it started to do the unraveling, I was like, "It's a whole horror movie film. It's a horror thriller. The whole episode. That's
They're
what's gonna
tasteful
happen."
with it, I
but
think.
they are. They chose not to go that route, and they chose to give her this level of sentience that blew my effing mind.
Yeah. So the sleep mode
The
is not
bird sleep
mode.
mode for her is
She
no
ain't
such
slept-
thing. She is woke as fuck.
Maeve is whoa.
I'm telling
When
you.
will they understand? Maeve doesn't have a sleep mode.
There's no sleep. There's no days off. She
No
does not
days off.
sleep. She does not sleep.
Woke
Her
AF.
finger was sitting out, and then sure enough, bird lands right on it. Everything gets quiet. Turns around, and there she is, and she says by name, "Oh, Felix, we have to talk." Oh my God! Every man. What thing does a man hate more than that phrase? We have to talk. And to hear it from your own creation makes it even worse.
Especially when you were the one that were hand deep in her abdomen getting out all the bullets for all those years. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Because he was, well, they're the main techs, right?
Yeah,
the
exactly.
main surgeons to repair those, to repair the android. So
Poor
he's
Felix.
in trouble.
Felix, I
You
don't
think
know
Felix
what's gonna
dead?
happen. No.
You think he's going to be dead?
They've had. She remembers so much now. I don't think she's gonna kill him now.
I don't think he's going to kill her
and there's
either.
going to be
No, I
something
don't
more
think
with
so.
the bird. The fact that he can something with the bird, that was a big deal. He's
No,
going
that
to
was a
do
big deal for him.
something.
That was a big deal for him because apparently he's there just to kind of remove the obstructions and then pass it to another
Yeah, you
team
don't
that
steal
brings
from
him
the
to
park
life.
and then conduct your own little experiments on it. I mean, he was trying to help, or figure out
he
the
was trying
code.
to, he was figure out the code to be
Yeah.
able to turn them back on. All he knows how to do is they're in sleep mode and remove bullets and then move to the team that turns them back on.
Right.
He turned it back on. So now that
There'll
he
be
knows
more
how
to
to do
his
that.
character. If he does die, I don't think it'll be the next episode. I think it'll probably be a little bit down the line.
Oh,
But
yeah.
because I can see him trying to do more, and then one of the AIs just getting upset and killing him. But
It can happen. It can
could.
happen.
Maybe not.
Man,
But-
there was so much in this episode.
I know.
There was so much, and we just
I
came
know.
to the end
I'm
of it.
excited to see what everybody comment. Like, I'm excited to see your guys' theories too.
Seriously, I want to know.
Because a lot of times you guys mention things, or they'll comment something that I didn't even see,
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
or I didn't
And-
think about, and I'm like, how did you come up with that? But it's like brilliant.
Well, we did get great comments from the fans too that are writing in. The
we did.
Westworlders, I guess. Were
Westworlders. Westworlders. I love it. It's true. It's true. I love what they're commenting. We actually had a comment. This came from our producer that's correcting me during the time we were shooting. And he mentioned something which was interesting, which is this is the first time we've actually seen like Dolores completely naked. Usually when we see it from before, it's kind of like
From behind or the side.
because it's through Bernard's eyes, and I think Bernard wants to keep her covered up. And when we finally get to see her have a conversation with Ford, we're seeing her through Ford's eyes, which is open. I want you completely exposed.
Well, I think that's a God thing. God talking to his kid.
Like a
There
godlike
you go.
complex.
Like, yeah, well, kind of like in the Garden of Eden, like where like
It's a superiority where it's
there
like,
is no nudity
this is my
here.
pure creation. I'm going to see the purest of my pure creation,
I
and that's
see.
like their flesh.
And that there is no purity here.
he wants to
But, I mean,
separate the Dolores from, you know what I mean, take her clothing off her shell, and maybe
Yeah,
just see
I
her
wanna-
raw.
Whereas Bernard is more of like, there is no God. You're on your own person. This is who you are, kind of.
and
Yeah.
they give you some level of humility.
Yeah,
by covering you up.
exactly.
See, and that's interesting.
Yeah,
to think
Bernard's
of it.
gentle with them too, I've noticed.
He is compared to Ford, which man, it's horrible. Besides that, we did have some comments, but the thing is, we addressed most of our comments from last week.
Okay.
Well,
And
read them anyway.
read them anyway. Still,
Yeah.
ooh.
Oh, is there a lot?
Well, there are some good ones.
Okay.
And sorry, guys, some of them are long, and I love them because those are the ones I love to have discussions with. But I don't want to like make everyone else read them. I will say you guys should head over to them and check them out because I'm not even going to read mine. I had one like breaking news. Here goes the theory. It's too much. It's too much, guys. There's no reason for all of that. So I'm not going to read that on the air, but it is important.
But if you do have a new crackpot theory on the way home, you will comment.
I will comment before anyone else. Another correction we got from our producer Josh again while we were filming is, well, they wouldn't be competing if they had stakes in the park already. So with that being the case, that kind of points
Oh, my
out
competition
that,
theory?
Yeah, the
Yeah, that
whole
scratches the
competition.
competition. I forgot that they have stake in the park, so that's right.
Yeah, so then
That would
well,
make sense.
never mind. But
Bosh that theory.
yeah, we'll let that go.
Mm-hmm.
Going into actual comments from you guys that are watchers, the Westworlders, we have K. Richard J., who says, Ford is God or the devil. Arnold is the devil or God. They had a battle 30 years ago. Round 2 is starting.
This is just like Lost with the Man in Black and Jacob.
Oh, this is it. This is it. There's no question about it. That's what we're experiencing, and that's what we're going through as far as just everything that everyone's going through with the Man in Black, Jacob, white hats, black hats, etc., etc. It's good and evil. it
Creating
seems
life, power trip, and you're right, it's either for good or evil.
like. Man, jeez.
It's deep. I like that.
It is very deep. Well, now we got to go to questions and answers that will now have been raised and other things that have been answered. What questions do we have that were answered already for this episode? I mean, when you really think about it, what questions do we have for this episode that are now answered?
Well, we got to that part of the maze where I started being the actual maze.
Okay. We know that there definitely is one now, for sure. There's no question about it. Even Ford acknowledges the fact that there is. We also acknowledge that, yes, Dolores has been speaking with Arnold.
Yes.
And that she is currently speaking with Arnold.
Yes, and we also know that there's about the satellite that's have been in the arms.
Oh my gosh!
We don't know
yeah.
who, what, where, when, or why with those.
A new question raised.
New question.
Who actually is trying to steal data from them? Where are they? Another question still being raised. What other questions are being? Well, man, there are so many.
What is the battle between Ford and Arnold?
Yeah.
Or if there is any controversy.
Or Ford and the Man in Black.
Who
Like,
is Man in Black? Yeah, who's the Man in Black?
Ford and Dolores.
Oh yeah.
The connection or relation? Well, the connection between Ford and Dolores, and how far does it go?
Is it
That's
love? Is
something
it
now.
hate? If it's what's their
what is it?
backstory together?
What is it? And we're hopefully going to find that out soon. We're still waiting for Ford's narrative. Or are we seeing it already?
Interesting.
Because he did bring up the thing about Wyatt. Now Wyatt became a through line in the snake bite tattoo lady in her story, and Armistice in her story now. And we're continuing with the Man in Black story and everything that's happening with him. We got our story of
Ford
Logan.
put in this new Wyatt programming, which he told Teddy about, and that was like Teddy's catalyst to go where he was going and the Man in Black to find him. That means that Ford is luring the Man in Black there.
That's it. Oh my God.
Wait,
that's
say
it.
that again?
So this whole Wyatt character that the Man in Black created for Teddy is something I think
Ford created for Teddy.
Ford created for Teddy. It's almost like, okay, I know that the Man in Black's eventually going to find this, and this is his key. I want him to come here. I want Teddy to be that key and him to have that knowledge, because that
Why would
Wyatt
he be so
backstory.
upset or seem intimidated then if it was a setup?
No, I don't think Ford was intimidated, because I think Ford expected this. I think the Man in Black was a little intimidated because he even
So we read that differently.
That's what I think. That's why I
Oh
think
my
that
God!
he won.
But with that also makes sense. Ford dispatched Mini Ford to
lure him
make
there.
MIB go to where he needed him to go. Oh my God!
Aren't you happy I'm back on this show?
Ford is a mastermind. If that's working out.
Yeah.
But I did kind of wonder when I saw the little boy, like, oh my God, did Ford send him, dispatch him? Because the little boy, we've never seen a little boy with parents or anything.
Well, he's also on that hilltop.
Exactly.
Yeah, he hangs out in the hills.
He hangs
doesn't
out
go
in the
in.
hills waiting for Ford to talk to him so he can remember things about his parents and stuff. And
So I
reminisce.
think that's what we're seeing, is that Ford lured him like the whole way, and whereas he always thought that the key was Lawrence, but Lawrence was just a means to get to Teddy, and that's why he knew that he's going to need Lawrence to. Ford set it up where he needed Lawrence, so that Teddy was already hurt and found and strung up by these guys. So maybe those guys are people. Remember when Teddy got chopped up or whatever?
Whatever it was.
Whatever happened. Maybe those guys are people that are in Ford's CIA almost group that don't want to be known, that do this to. That's why they couldn't get hurt.
Oh my God, that's so much more.
Yeah, that information really
From here,
put me over the edge.
we were gonna go right into crackpot theories, but we've been sharing our theories the whole episode and looking
have
for
no
more.
I am dry
I'm
with
dry.
crackpot
I am
theories.
dry right now because I've shared so many. I've just
I agree.
thrown myself
Unless
out.
you have another one, I think we're
I've had like 3.
tapped out.
already, so.
I think we're kind of tapped out on crackpot theories, but we definitely want to hear yours. If you guys have some, make sure to comment below. Also, use the hashtag Bullets and Milk, because we're gonna love to see it on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook. Hit us up as many ways as you can. Trust me, we will respond to you. With that, I just want to automatically sign off and say I'm Daniel.
I'm Jessica. Thanks for watching, guys.
And I'm Joe.
So make sure to subscribe and watch more Bullets and Milk.
Yep. See you next Sunday.
Ooh, nice. Bada bing, bada boom. I forgot to tell you guys. So bang, bang, and gulp, gulp.
Bang, bang, gulp, gulp.